Hello, and welcome to the video. Today we're going to take a look at Celesteela in the Open Ultra League here. As we have the Swampert in the lead, we have the Celesteela as our safe swap in this team, as we have a little bit more coverage in this Pokemon compared to the Skarmory, which we have in the back here. And you already know the core of Swampert and Skarmory from the Open Great League most likely, so here we're going to try to do the same thing again, and it worked out really well. Like, I didn't expect it whatsoever, but this Pokemon itself, it's not the best definitely itself, but it helps this team out so much. You kind of always try to get out the Pokemon that your Pokemon in the back, which is Skarmory, doesn't really want to face, and as you have here way more coverage with the Body Slam, which is neutral against most Pokemon, and then the Bulldoze, which is going to be able to hit all those Pokemon that can resist the Body Slam, going to allow you to just basically get either shield advantage, some energy advantage later on with the Swampert because you get the Pokemon so low, or whatsoever, like every kind of advantage you can kind of think of. As you can see here, the opponent's Buzzwole stays in already at half health. We see a Staraptor coming in. Sadly, we shielded the wrong move here. We didn't really have to shield anyway, but I was like, maybe they can farm me down afterwards. I'd rather shield the superpower, but it was just a lunge. But here we get the shield back, and yeah, this team worked out so well. Like, it worked out so well, and I really enjoyed playing this team. I might play it again. As we have here even a purified version of Skarmory. We don't run Return. Return on Skarmory doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But we see a Pidgeot coming in, which is amazing for us. We can go for one big Brave Bird, and they are not going to expect this, as we can go into our Swampert now against this Buzzwole, trying to at least KO this Pokemon or get a shield here, and we can get the final shield by the opponent. They can get to their move, but we can actually still survive this with our Shadow Swampert 0-15-15 our IV here, which is going to be, I think, the second best or something possible for the Ultra League. I was pretty lucky with this, but yeah, like at this point, my opponent cannot do anything. They go for a Brave Bird, does not even like half of my health, and they just decide to surrender. This team is really cool, to be honest. Celesteela, the safe swap, is really cool as well. It's also kind of funny because they I think the camera angle is a little bit screwed up sometimes with this Pokemon because it's so big. Here we see a horrible lead with the Dragonite, and we see also a horrible safe swap here with the XL version of Registeel. Can't wait for this Pokemon to come back into raids because I have a rank 1 version for the Ultra League, which is kind of insane, which is super rare to get because you have to trade with a 1-star friendship level, which is then a 1 to, I don't know, 4,000 something chance to get the right IV spread, which is kind of insane that I got it. But yeah, we see the Registeel here. We cannot farm it down, sadly. We still have one move stored here after this one, and we have to swap out immediately, of course, as we get the Dragonite out again. And they stay in here, which seems a little bit sus, to be honest, as we can see that they go for a Dragonclaw. They definitely are not really happy with the matchup in the back there. I would expect that it might be something like a Trevenant, but we have to see, and it is a Trevenant. Here's the deal. If they bait me here, I'm most likely going to be screwed, but I'm going to shield this move up, and they go straight for the Shadow Ball. What we can do now is we can go for one Sky Attack here. The Sky Attack will do some nice damage, but they of course going to shield up, and we can go for another one. And now we still have one move stored on our Swampert. We cannot really do anything else but trying to snipe this Pokemon, going for the Hydro Cannon and winning us the game there. If you didn't know, Hydro Cannon from Swampert, especially the Shadow version, it's just busted. It's like so strong. Doesn't matter if your Pokemon is resisting it, it literally doesn't matter. You're still going to be able to beat this thing. As we see a Drapion coming in, we can swap onto the charge move into the Celesteela, going to be a crunch. You see how weird the camera angle going to be there, but it is fine as we can just air slash this Pokemon down. As you can see here, we can take another crunch. We're pretty bulky and we can just farm it all the way down. As we see the opponent coming into their Firebird again, the Talonflame. We can go ahead, go for one fast move, go for one Body Slam, go for another fast move, and go for another Body Slam. Sadly, we will not be able to reach the final Body Slam. It's kind of interesting as well that you only need 4 air slashes to get to your charge move, which is really nice because usually you need like 5, for example, for the Skarmory. As we see a Cresselia coming in, we're going to store up a lot of energy on our Swampert, and because all the moves that Cresselia has, other than Aurora Beam, which is a horrible move, going to be resisted on our Skarmory, you will be able to have a really decent matchup here. We can just go ahead and go for our Sky Attacks, Sky Attack will do some pretty decent damage if they would let this move go through. And of course we have basically 2 moves stored on our Swampert in the back, so we're going to be able to have a pretty nice timing as they actually swap into their Firebird, the Talonflame. We can go for one Sky Attack KO this thing as well, and they are just not gonna get rid of my Skarmory. Extra Skarmory was something that pretty much underwhelmed me before, but now with all the new fighting types in the meta, it's kinda good, to be honest. It's like really good. Like having flying type stab coverage with this Pokemon is good as against something also like the Versian now. Versian, I don't know how to really say it, but yeah, Versian or the Buzzwole, both of them get double super effective damage from flying type moves. So having the stab there is really amazing. As we see another horrible lead here with the Trevenant against us in the lead, we swap into our Celesteela and we bait out the Swampert from the opponent. Pretty fine for me. We can go for the Body Slam. Gonna get this thing already pretty low, and we can go for another one, which is even better for me, as we're gonna get this thing even lower, but we're actually gonna get the shield from the opponent, which is amazing, as we can let this move go through. And they didn't know my typing, I guess. I think they thought I was just pure Steel, but I'm Flying Steel, and they went for the Earthquake there, which was not the right play. And we can go for one Body Slam, getting the final shield by the opponent. And at this point, I'm just gonna actually shield this move up as well. Kinda interesting, didn't think about this. But I can go for one more Body Slam now, and I will be able to realign my Pokemon, which is amazing, as we of course hard lost the lead there. We're going to be able now to stay in our Celesteela here. They go for the charge move, going to be a Seed Bomb only, but it's kind of funny that they aim through here, because we don't really have a move to hit them other than my fast move. And now we have the Skarmory against the opposing Trevenant, and we're looking pretty decent here. As they go ahead and go into their Tapu Fini, we have to reach the Earthquake, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna get there in time, and we will get there in time. Which now means we're going to do a lot of damage here, as you can see. They're going to actually get to another move here, which is going to be the Boom Blast, which does put us into range where they can farm us down. We don't get to another charge move, and we kind of have to farm them down here. Let's hope that we can survive the surf, and we will be able to survive the surf, farm this thing down. We are nearly 1 HP, and we can go for one big Brave Bird here just to overkill this Trevenant. Bye-bye Trevenant. Of course, one Sky Attack would have been enough as well, but if you have the Brave Bird, you have to go for the Brave Bird, of course. Seeing another flying type here in the lead with the Pidgeot, we can just go straight for the Hydro Cannon. Gonna get a shield from the opponent. We go for 4 more fast move and now swap onto the charge move into our Steel type. All the moves of the Pidgeot are flying type, so we're going to be pretty fine here. We can go ahead and go for some nice Body Slams against this incoming Swampert. We have a move stored on our own Swampert. We have to remember this one, as they go for another charge move. Fine for me. They go for the Hydro Cannon. We will be able to go for our own Hydro Cannon. Does this KO the opposing Swampert? It does not, and we sadly have to shield him now as well. Kind of want to keep my Swampert alive. Maybe they have a Steel type in the back. That's going to be a little bit tricky, but they actually have a Politoed in the back. And I swap onto the charge move here. This will not do as much damage as towards my Swampert. And of course, Politoed is a little bit interesting. It's a Pokemon that you don't really see that often. It's basically a bulkier Swampert and doesn't do as much damage though, because it only has a Weather Ball, which got nerfed. And now it's pretty much, yeah, it's not useless, but it's not as good as it was before, when Politoed was basically everywhere in the meta. It was kind of nice times, but actually. We see the swap into their Pidgeot, which is actually doing way more than I thought, and I kind of have to let this move go through. It's going to be a Brave Bird, and I kind of am in a bad scenario here. Like, I think I should have actually shielded that move, because it was my only play of winning, because now I have to go for 2 Hydro Cannons. I can go for 1 Hydro Cannon now already. Going to get the final shield. They go for their move. Do they already have 2 moves stored is the question. I would win CMP, but they already have 2 moves stored, and it's going to be a good game here. Very close game. Basically got decided by a 1 fast move. So kind of crazy. Next opponent, we see a Walrein here. Walrein is something that you don't really expect to see that often anymore after the last move update. So I was a little bit scared of this Pokemon, because it's pretty decent against my entire team, to be honest. I'm going to go ahead and bait this thing with my Earthquake here and go for the Hydro Cannon instead. Gonna get the shield, and I can go into my Celesteela now, which will be able to take those moves pretty easily. Walrein is not gone, by the way. Like, Walrein is still very, very strong. You have to expect Walrein a little bit more commonly in the next couple of weeks or whatever. I think people are going to go back to Walrein, to be honest, because there is like kind of a hole that a Walrein left in the meta. And a lot of people don't really realize how strong this Pokemon still is, just because everybody thinks it's so nerfed, but it's basically, yes, it has now basically a weaker version of Surf, but still Ice typing is such a good offensive typing that's still such a strong move there and such strong Pokemon in general. It's definitely not as good as before, but it's definitely still a top tier meta. And we see here Sky-Attack coming through, doing some nice damage to this Pokemon. But of course, this Pokemon still does some pretty nice damage back with their Icicle Spear. We can go ahead, go for one Hydro Cannon with our Swampert, and we will be able to get the final shield here. We see them going into a Venusaur, and we have to farm this thing down now with our Skarmory. We can see here now that the Skarmory will actually take a little bit more damage than I would expect from the Great League matchup here. They just survive a little bit longer. I think the stats differences there are not as big as in the Great League. I have to go up to 2 moves here, and then I can throw my charge move with the Sky Attack. I don't think I would have been able to actually farm all the way down. But the Sky Attack will do enough, as well as it going to do enough against this Walrein, winning us this game as well. Good game to my opponent. Going into the next game, we see a Blastoise in the lead. Blastoise in the lead is kind of tricky to deal with as well. I really wish that Celesteela would get Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb is a move that this thing definitely can learn. I played Celesteela a lot in the main series games for like competitive formats. This would be really cool on Celesteela if we would get also the Seed Bomb, because then you could run basically Body Slam, Seed Bomb, Air Slash. Seed Bomb would give you more coverage against something like Swampert, and would make a lot of matchups way cooler while not making it broken. Maybe something for a future move update would be cool, but I don't really think it's going to happen. Here, I think because I lost CMP to one before, I was like, I'm just gonna go over it. I think I always lose CMP, but now I have 2 Hydro Cannons stored. I should be fine here. I can go for one more, KOing this opposing Pokemon. As we can see, the Blastoise coming in. We go for the big Earthquake. They're going to let this move go through, and we see a Drapion coming in. This matchup looks pretty decent for me, but it's actually not as good as you might think it is, because Drapion actually going to have a pretty decent time here, as the fast move with Poison Sting, of course, is double resisted, but you don't do damage with your fast move anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much, and we can just go for one Sky Attack, go for another Sky Attack. But they're actually going to let this move go through, which is interesting, because I was like, kinda interesting move there. I think it was not the right move, but it doesn't really matter too much to them, as we can go ahead, go for one Hydro Cannon here, and we actually see CMP tied with the opponent, which is pretty decent for us, but sadly they're going to undercharge here, and they're going to farm me down, getting to more energy than I wanted them to get to, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway, as they can go for another Hydro Cannon here, KOing our Skarmory and winning them the game. Good game to my opponent. As we see the next opponent having a Dragonite in the lead again, we can swap out into our Celesteela. We'll be able to do a lot of damage against everything here, and also going to get to the charge moves pretty fast with the Body Slam, getting the first shield from the opponent, and getting out the Talonflame. I'm not sure why my opponent didn't throw their Talonflame in earlier, but I'm fine with this, as we can go for more Body Slams here. They still have to throw their moves, I think, but we can actually go for another Body Slam here, trying to get this thing even lower, and we will see that they have to still throw their, 1 HP in a Dream, and I can just let this move go through and farm down with a Swampert, and I could let this move go through as well here, and I will let this move go through, as it only can be a Flame Charge. We swap out immediately into our Skarmory against the opposing Dragonite, and now we even put him into a range where the Hydro Cannon will do enough damage to kill the opponent, as we see a Shadow Charizard coming in here. Shadow Charizard, of course, is a little bit tricky to deal with, as this Pokemon has access to Blast Burn. We have to be careful with this, and they are not going to bait, which is amazing for us, because now we can farm them all the way down. Having a move stored now, we can go for one Sky Attack, but they can get to another move here, which is going to be the Superpower. It just barely doesn't KO us. We can go for one Sky Attack. We can swap into Swampert, I think, as well now, and they actually gotta let the move go through, winning us the game there. Good game to my opponent, and going into the final match here, we see Nidoqueen lead, which is amazing for the entire team, because you see Nidoqueen doesn't want to get aligned with any of our Pokemon. Every Pokemon here on this team is good against Nidoqueen, but we see now also one Jellicent, which is pretty damn awful for the team. So we going to go ahead and go into our Skarmory. Skarmory can take this move pretty easily. Skarmory is still a tank in the Ultra League, of course, fully XL. But we can now let this move go through. It's going to be another Shadow Ball, and we will be able to realign most likely here. Let's see what they have in the back after this one. We know that the Nidoqueen is not a problem, so it depends on what they have in the back here, and it's going to be a Scrafty. And with Scrafty, I'm going to go into my Swampert first. I can go for some Hydro Cannon. I just want to get some damage on there, because then I can farm it down with Air Slash on my Celesteela. And I can let the first move go through, and at this point of time, I don't think there's anything my opponent can do to still win this game. So yeah, this is going to be it then basically for the showcase for Celesteela here. Celesteela in the Ultra League is definitely a Pokemon that you kinda actually want to have. Like, I think this Pokemon is cool, especially if you can trade for a good IV one. I think this Pokemon has some potential. It is pretty nice as a safe swap, especially if you can pair it with a Skarmory if you already have one. And I really enjoyed this. So yeah, we can now finish off the Nidoqueen here with one Hydro Cannon. We will be able to take this Poison Fang as well, and we still have one Body Slam stored on our Celesteela, which will win us the game at the end. So this is going to be it for the video. Thanks all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the showcase. I'm going to post more relevant stuff now again as I'm back from vacation, and that's going to be it. Thanks for watching. See you next video. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.